Lewis Hamilton. 7 World Championships, 104 race wins. A man who has done absolutely everything in this sport. Now driving for Ferrari on the streets of Monaco, the most glamorous and prestigious race on the entire calendar. And yesterday, he finished second. Not because he crashed, not because his car broke down, but because a 19-year-old kid from Bologna, Italy, simply refused to let him through. A teenager. Still not old enough to rent a car in most countries. And he just made the greatest Formula One driver of his generation look ordinary at Monaco. Let that sit for a second, because what happened in Monaco on June 7th, 2026 was not just a race result. It was a statement. A 19-year-old in his very first Formula One season, on the most dangerous and unforgiving street circuit in the world, under red flags, standing restarts, chaos all around him, penalties flying everywhere, and he never once flinched. Not for a single lap. This is the story of how Kimi Antonelli held off Lewis Hamilton at Monaco, and why what is happening right now in Formula One should have every single fan paying close attention. Let us go back to the beginning of this season. When Mercedes announced that Kimi Antonelli would replace Lewis Hamilton himself in their car for 2026, people were excited but cautious. He was a teenager stepping into one of the most high-pressure seats in motorsport. The expectations were enormous and the risk of struggling was very real. But Antonelli did not struggle. He won his second ever Formula One race, then his third, then his fourth. Going into Monaco, he had 4 wins from 5 races. 4 from 5. In his debut season. That is not normal. That is not something that happens in Formula One. But Antonelli kept doing it anyway. Monaco is different though. Monaco is not just another race. The barriers are centimeters from the car. There is almost no room for error anywhere on the lap. One tiny mistake and your race is over. The walls do not forgive. And because overtaking is nearly impossible on these streets, qualifying and the race start are everything. Get to the front and stay clean, and 9 times out of 10, the race is yours. Antonelli qualified on pole position, which meant going into race day, he had the best possible starting position on the best possible circuit for his style of racing. Then the lights went out and immediately everything went wrong for everyone, except Antonelli. Max Verstappen, the 4-time world champion, was starting from second on the front row. He was supposed to be the biggest threat. But the moment the race began, his Red Bull lost power completely. Verstappen stalled right off the start line. The man who was meant to fight Antonelli for the win was out of the race before the first corner was even reached. Just like that. Gone. Retired on lap 1. And suddenly Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, the 2 Ferrari drivers, were jumping up into second and third position right behind Antonelli. So the real race became Antonelli versus Hamilton. Mercedes versus Ferrari. A 19-year-old rookie versus a 7-time world champion. And what followed was one of the most controlled, intelligent, and mature drives you will see from someone of any age in Formula One, let alone a teenager. Antonelli did not panic. He did not push too hard and destroy his tires. He did not make any errors through the barriers. He simply drove with complete confidence and built a gap, lap by lap, corner by corner. Hamilton was fast. Ferrari had clearly made real progress this season, but every time the gap started to close, Antonelli responded. He had an answer for everything Hamilton threw at him. There was no moment where you looked at the timing screens and thought Antonelli was in trouble. He was always in control. Then came the pit stops, and this is where Hamilton's afternoon got seriously complicated. Hamilton came in on lap 29 for fresh tires. The plan from Ferrari was smart. Get Hamilton onto new rubber, let him close the gap to Antonelli in the final stint, and see if the pressure of Monaco and a standing restart could finally crack the teenager. But the moment Hamilton entered the pit lane, he was traveling just a fraction too fast. The stewards acted immediately. A 5-second penalty was added to his race time. 5 seconds sounds small. In Monaco, where overtaking is almost physically impossible and the gaps between cars are measured in fractions of a second, 5 seconds might as well be 5 minutes. That penalty ended any genuine hope Hamilton had of winning this race. And while Antonelli kept his head at the front, the rest of the field was collapsing around him. Lando Norris, who had been quietly building through the pack, radioed his McLaren engineers on lap 46 with the words nobody wants to hear. He said, and this was broadcast live, that he had nothing left and the car had no battery power. McLaren told him to retire the car. Gone. Carlos Sainz, Valtteri Bottas with brake failure, Oliver Bearman after contact with his own teammate. The retirements kept coming one after another, but the most dramatic moment of the race came with just 10 laps remaining. The Monaco tarmac, which had been breaking up badly in several sections, finally claimed a major victim. Charles Leclerc, Hamilton's own Ferrari teammate, was running in a potential podium position when his car hit the broken surface at the final corner, and he crashed heavily into the barriers. The red flag was thrown. Race suspended. After 70 laps of incredible chaos, the entire result of the Monaco Grand Prix was going to be decided in a standing restart with just 8 laps to go. This was the exact moment where a lesser driver would have cracked. Antonelli had already done the hard work. He had a comfortable gap, and now it was being erased completely. Hamilton, on fresher tyres from a later stop, would be right behind him. The pressure of Monaco, the pressure of a championship fight, the pressure of the entire sport watching. And Antonelli was 19 years old. He nailed the restart. Not slightly well, perfectly. He pulled away immediately, controlled every lap of that final sprint, and crossed the finish line 6.271 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Isaac Hadjar took the final podium position in third after Pierre Gasly was demoted for penalties, and Hamilton, standing on that podium in second place, said something that should stop every Formula One fan in their tracks. He said, and this is a direct quote, "I have to start by congratulating Kimi and my old Mercedes team. Kimi is delivering weekend in, weekend out. We have been progressing over the past few months. We cannot keep up with them yet." Lewis Hamilton, 7 world championships. The man this sport is built around right now, standing on a podium saying he cannot keep up with a 19-year-old in his debut season. Meanwhile, George Russell, Antonelli's own teammate, his closest championship rival, was having a catastrophic afternoon. A false start investigation, a 5-second penalty for pit lane speeding, then a drive-through penalty for failing to serve that penalty correctly. Russell finished 12th. Outside the points, while his teenage teammate was lifting the winner's trophy in Monaco. The championship picture after 6 rounds is extraordinary. Antonelli leads by 66 points. He is running away with this title fight, and the season is only just getting started. Hamilton has moved into second in the standings ahead of Russell, but the gap to Antonelli keeps growing every single race weekend. Here is the thing about Kimi Antonelli that makes this truly special. He is not just winning races, he is winning them in the most difficult circumstances imaginable. Chaos around him, red flags, standing restarts, the greatest drivers in the world breathing down his neck. And he is 19 years old. Michael Schumacher, for all his genius, never won the Monaco Grand Prix. Ayrton Senna made Monaco his personal territory for years, and right now in 2026, a teenager is making this track look like his home circuit. Hamilton said they cannot keep up yet. Pay very close attention to that word, yet. Because if Lewis Hamilton, with everything he has achieved in this sport, cannot match a 19-year-old yet, and Antonelli is only going to keep improving as the season goes on, then the question is no longer whether Kimi Antonelli can win a world championship this year. The question is whether anyone in Formula One can stop him.